y dos, y dos, una, y dos, una, y dos.
Hello and welcome to Cortesnyc Livestream, the podcast. This show broadcasts twice a week out of New York City. We are your hosts, Cortesnyc
and Carla de Puerto Rico.
And on the show, we talk about art, creativity, city life from a Latino perspective. I'm a visual artist.
And I'm a singer.
This is episode 12, Nemesis. Today's episode, we have a special guest, Alex Armando Torres. He's an independent filmmaker, producer, photographer, and he will be sharing with us some of his stories about his background, how he got into filmmaking, and the creative process.
Like always, you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Podbean. Please subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. And also, a big shout out to all our followers on Instagram. Thank you for all the support. You can find us over there at Cortesnyc Livestream.
All right, so our guest today is Alex Armando Torres. What's good, Alex?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Bienvenido.
Gracias.
So Alex, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you're here?
I was born and raised New York City, originally in Manhattan. Moved to the Bronx. My family's originally from Puerto Rico. My mom is from Cabo Rojo, and my dad is from, they say he's from Mayagüez, but I don't know why they're living in Dorado. So we'll just say Dorado for now. Hopefully I'm here to make people more aware that there are a lot of Latino filmmakers out there, more than people realize, or just Latino artists, period, really.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us your personal story. How did you develop your creativity?
I am one of like way too many kids. I have like 7 other siblings. So.
Oh wow, that's a big family.
It is a big family. Yeah. It is a big family. So, you know, I grew up mostly in the Bronx, and I went to private school my whole life. And then I went to a military college, got my degree in engineering, and I don't even use it, which is kind of funny. You know, I think I use those analytical skills, but I don't use actual engineering.
Right.
And to make it even funnier, my degree was actually in nautical engineering.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What is that? Like driving boats?
No, designing ships.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So you see those big ships out there? That was my major.
Oh, there's a school near me, Maritime. Is it? I think it's.
That's the school I went to.
Ah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. See.
Yeah. Actually, I went to an open house for my son. That's a different story. We'll get into that in another show. But yeah.
Well, a lot has changed. A lot has changed between when I went 25 years ago and now.
So how did you take that background and begin to evolve into what you're doing now?
Ever since I was little, I'm gonna go way back.
Yeah.
To the dawn of time. So my sister could always draw. My older sister could always draw, and I was always like, I don't want to say envious, but I always wish I could draw like her, right? I don't know. I feel this need to be creative, but I could never find an outlet. You know, you have other siblings. Everybody is known for something. The oldest, the baby, the smart one.
I was the baby.
Yeah, you were the baby.
The only one.
Yeah, I was the middle one, so I got lost. Lost in translation. So it was interesting. Like there were certain things that I liked. Like my older sisters, you know, their penmanship in Catholic school was very, very pretty. And I was like, I want to do that. So I would copy theirs. You know, it was never as pretty as theirs, but I would copy it.
All right.
So I've always had this need to be creative. When I went to Maritime, I started out as a business major.
Oh, okay.
Because I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But 2 years in, I was like, I hate this. So I looked at the different curriculums, and there was this one that was creative. You know, designing ships meant drawing. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. So I got into that. I did it. My GPI actually was a lot higher. So obviously I was meant to be there to do that. It was probably one of the hardest majors. And considering how few Latinos there were on that campus, for me to do that and graduate said a lot.
Yeah, that's an accomplishment. It's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah. So I went sailing for a very short time, hated it. You know.
Why? What happened?
Well, you know, that's probably another podcast for another day.
That's part 2. That's your second interview.
Yeah. So, but, you know, I kind of realized that being a Latino, being a dark-skinned Latino, being a gay dark-skinned Latino, I was like, what was I thinking going to a military college? I was out of my mind. But I'm the kind of person that, you know, I guess I don't like people telling me I can't do something.
Right on.
You know, so I did it.
Nice.
And I graduated, and I loved it. There were things about the school I absolutely loved. But as a person of color, as a person who is not norm to them,
right,
it was hard.
Yeah.
It was very hard. There were a lot of battles, emotional, physical, mental, spiritual. But I was determined not to let them break me. So I was just out of spite.
Succeed out of spite.
Just to succeed, I was like, I'm gonna prove you wrong.
Nice.
So I did that. Then I sailed. I take it back. I love the sailing part, but having been pretending for so long,
right,
that I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I don't want to be in an industry that doesn't accept me,
right,
you know, because I have a lot to offer. So I just decided to leave and decided to go down a different path. That path, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. You know, my best friend was writing at that time. I was writing for fun, but he was writing because he wanted a career, you know, in filmmaking. And
were you already doing photography at this stage, or?
So this was what was interesting. I had always taken a lot of photos, and I don't want to like throw my family under the bus, but you know, they kind of be like, oh my God, why are you wasting so much film? You keep taking so many pictures. Like, do you know how expensive that is? And I'm like, but I like taking pictures. And they were like, but it's the same thing. I was like, but they're minor differences. There's like 10-degree different angle. They're like, oh my God, you're wasting film. It's too expensive. You know, because this was not digital. This was actual film.
Actual film, yeah. How did you get into the photography? Like, or who got you into it? How did you?
So my husband, I met him 9 years ago, and you know, wherever we go, I like to secretly video people. You know, I think it's well, not video them more, but like take photographs, candid.
Right.
And I would get some really good shots. But it was just like
We're being recorded right now. I hope you know that, Carly.
Yeah.
I know, right?
As we speak, we're being photographed. So he's laughing.
I know. Every time I walk into a room with his friends, they're like, make sure his camera's not on. So they were. It was actually his friends. Like within a year of knowing him and taking photos, his friends actually more than anybody else encouraged me and said, you have an eye. Why are you not doing this professionally?
Nice.
And more like out of fear, because I was like, well, I didn't go to school for this. I didn't, you know, those kind of fears kind of like stick in your head. But then a few years ago, I said, let me just do it. So, I mean, I've done a lot of stuff for free. I've worked with a blogger. I've worked with a nonprofit in DC that had a really great cause.
All right, so tell me about that. The not-for-profit?
So the non-for-profit is the Sergeant Sullivan Center, and they deal with helping veterans find, answers, and they deal really with a lot of the veterans coming back from the Middle East, from the wars, and all these new diseases. And it's a great organization that really helps them, and I think that they've partnered up with different nonprofits.
And you were doing that? You were taking portraits of them? Is that what you're doing?
Well, no, I was actually just at their events.
Oh, nice.
doing, you know, just working the crowd, doing
like documenting.
Just documenting. You know, the one particular photo that I took is the Women's National Memorial, which sits at Arlington Cemetery, and most people don't realize it's there.
Okay.
And I did this one particular photo at night with a brand new camera, and I just got the whole building, and it's kind of hard to explain, but it's the entire building. And behind it is JFK's Eternal Flame.
Nice.
And then there's a reflecting pool in front. So that photo, they used it a lot in their literature, I believe.
Nice.
So yeah.
That's nice, man. That's very nice. I mean, I like the fact that you're aside from why you're here, you're going to discuss your movie, but that you did things that have a reason, have a purpose. Your creative ventures before that were something that actually was for a cause. I think that's really positive. I mean,
thank you. I appreciate that.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's talk while we're here. We're talking about a movie.
We're talking. It is a killer movie, and it is. So it's basically, in a nutshell.
What's the name of it?
Nemesis. There you go. 3 killers lost in the woods.
Wow.
You can't get any better than that.
Wow. What's your role in this movie? What is it you do? What's your part?
Because it's a short. I'm sorry, not a short film, but because it's an independent film.
Yeah.
As the executive producer, I wore many hats.
Okay.
So if the actors needed like a specific kind of food, or I worked with all the PAs to go get food, to go get clothing, do the wardrobe, do principal photography, because since I do photography, it made sense instead of hiring someone. Well, I will just do it in between scenes. And I got a lot of great shots from that, and that you'll see on the website too.
How long was the production?
The production was scheduled for 13 days.
Wow.
And we did it in 12, and we even started a day late.
Wow.
So our very last day, we got up at I think 5:30 in the morning. We got up at 5:30 every morning, and worked about 12-hour days.
Nice. So why don't you give us a little bit of the background on how the movie came to be? Who wrote it? How did you get involved?
Yeah. So the writer-director is, again, my best friend, Carl Hogar, also Puerto Rican, and he was challenged. He lives in Utah with his wife and kids. And he was challenged by a good friend of his, Sana Foley, who is also in filmmaking. And she was like, there was this need to we need to write a film that's not expensive. And she literally threw out the idea, take 3 people and throw them in the woods, do something with that. And that's what she said, just do something with 3 people in the woods.
Wow.
So he came up with this idea, this concept I believe the role was supposed to be written for her, of a disgraced U.S. Marshal who, in order to regain her life, has become a bounty hunter so she could get money to reclaim her life, and she has to track down the serial killer. And she loses him in the wood because she gets into this freak car accident. She comes across it was originally written a young guy who caused the accident. And later she finds out that the young guy actually works as a cleaner. Cleaner.
I don't want you to spoil the plot, but I get it. It's a
let's cut that out. We don't want people to know that part.
But it's a thriller. It's a thriller. What other elements what other genres are in the? It's a thriller. It's a crime.
Horror.
It's you know what? We actually won an award for best horror, which I was a little bit surprised because it's not horror. It's just straight up thriller.
What do you think made it horror?
The way they horribly die.
Spoilers also? Or what?
Oh my God, I'm sorry. Scratch that too. Can't have that either. There's some pretty horrible things in there. Let's just say that.
Okay. What are your best memories of this production, let's say? It sounds like it was something quick.
Well, this was a very unique situation. So in order to keep the budget super, super tight, I had to get everyone to stay together. Imagine a house with 11 strangers.
This sounds like another plot.
We actually joked around this sounds like there's going to be a horror movie in this, because we rented an old farmhouse way upstate, probably 20 minutes south of Montreal.
Okay.
but the New York side. And the farmhouse, it was cute on the outside, but when you go inside, there were a few things about it that was a little freaky and creepy. Like the door to the basement was locked. There was a hole in the kitchen ceiling, but
who locks a basement? Why do you need to lock a basement?
I don't know. There was a room to the side that looked like something out of Silence of the Lambs. The people were super nice who rented to us. But you know what? It was a really great experience, and I think that we all gelled perfectly. You know, everybody got along really, really well.
Well, I'm sure on a small production, you have to. You got no choice. Yeah. Part of it is you have to, right? Like.
Yeah. And I mean, and there were a few times where some feathers were getting ruffled, and my job was to smooth out those feathers.
I get the impression that you're good at that. That you're good at reading people.
During my day job, that's what I do.
Yeah, I get the impression.
Yeah, I deal with a lot of sick people. My day job is, I work in a pharmacy, so there's a lot of sick people. So I have to understand, I have to be empathic, sympathetic, and put them before everything else. So it's, for me, I thank my mom for that, because my mom taught me from an early age, be quiet, watch and observe, and you'll learn a lot more than talking.
Yeah.
My mom told me the same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. See, Puerto Rican mothers. There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. And if you do that, you learn more. You learn a lot more.
So I think right there you kind of brought up a good skill set that you should have, or you recommend to have. I would recommend to have if you're going to be in your shoes. What other skill do you think somebody that would want to fill your shoes would have to have?
A strong backbone. You know what? Working with your best friend poses its own challenges. You have ego. There's the creative side. Yeah. But we worked really, really well together on this. It was a matter of checking myself and making sure that I understood my role, and my role was not to direct. Because I had directed one of his short films and did well on it, so I had to keep my ego and be like, "Okay, this is not my show right now."
Don't be the Nemesis now. Don't be the
Nemesis. But I was like, okay, I'm here to support the writer, director, the actors, the crew, and make sure that we all work well together.
That's great. That's really good. So you were telling us when we were having a conversation before we started recording about another production that you worked on. What was this early one that you worked on?
Well, there were two earlier ones I worked on. The first one, which is from 2004, was Heroes.
Heroes,
and that was a sci-fi one. I really enjoyed working on that. It was my first time producing, did not know anything about it. But I learned quickly, and we got some really good people in it. Okay. And it turned out to be a nice first time short film.
It was sci-fi. Just give me a little idea of what level of sci-fi, like special effects and everything, or
not special effects, because again this was low budget.
Right.
But it was sci-fi with the thought.
The story. The story. Got you.
Right.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's difficult. I know a lot of small productions would rather choose to do either a crime or a drama than a sci-fi. Sci-fi is a difficult it's very challenging.
Well, what we did was we created the illusion of special effects.
Okay.
I'm actually even though it wasn't like the best short film ever, I'm very proud of it because it was my first one.
It was yours, man. You got to say it's the best until you die. It was the best.
I know. It will always be a great short film to me because it was a learning experience, and I got to meet some really good people, and some of them went up to do really great, amazing things. So,
Yeah, we spoke about that on a previous podcast. We spoke about how some projects are learning lessons, and you don't value your projects just on the finished product. Sometimes it's the process that is the value of that project.
Absolutely,
it is what it is, right?
Absolutely, and I would say from each project, I've learned exponentially what to do, what not to do, and it's amazing. You learn all those lessons, and then you make all new mistakes. And you're like, oh!
Yeah.
So tell me about the second one. What was the other one that you were going to tell us about?
The second one was so at the time that we did the first one, I was living in Virginia.
Okay.
And And about 5 years ago, I was offered a job here in New York. So I said, well, I would only go to New York if I could pursue my passion, and that was photography and filmmaking. So I came to New York, and I lived in Westchester, in northern Westchester. So there's some classes at Jacob Burns. So I took that, and I said, if I'm going to do a student film, I want it to be good enough to enter into festivals. I just don't want to just do a student film and go, okay, what do I do next?
Yeah.
Like, let's see how far I could take this. I did the short, entered it into like 200 festivals, and got accepted into about 50.
Nice.
So it was like one in four.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't bad.
What was the title?
Darker.
Darker. Okay.
Yeah. And they had a little bit of brujeria, santeria mixed in that.
What?
Again, low budget. You give the illusion
Right.
of special effects. So that one I really, really like, because the lead is Puerto Rican.
Okay.
You know, he was a real champ. He did a really great job. He had the perfect look for this character, you know. And at the end, he did a great job of being possessed by this. Well, you'll see.
Spoilers.
I don't know how to keep my mouth quiet about these damn things. You just got to see it. It's good. It's good. And it's very creepy.
Okay.
It's very, very creepy.
Okay. That's darker. Darker.
It's darker.
And
actually, we are thinking about reshooting it. I really liked the short, and I'm trying to do it as a full-length feature.
Okay.
And since it won a lot of awards and, you know, was all over the place, I would really like to see it. And now that the more that I keep going, I would really like to see more Latinos, more people of color, and more women. And I would like to change the roles to make them, one was a male, one was a female, but to make them both women.
Okay.
One Latina and one non. And really play on that. And I actually went so far as to already talk to the writer and the two actors that I want.
Nice.
To redo it, because I feel like this could be a really good low budget thriller that would just scare you know, the crap out of everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. So with a couple of minutes that we have left in this portion here, what is the goal for Nemesis? So where are we right now with the movie? And
so Nemesis is complete.
Okay.
It's completed with the editing. It's currently in post-production. The post-production process is just as expensive as the production.
Wow. Okay.
So,
for people who don't know about post-production, just quickly, what is those steps? Is it?
So you're looking at editing, sound, special effects, and coloring. Looking for a sales agent. In post-production, you would also have the fees for film festivals.
Right.
You know, if you want to get it out there and you want people to know.
Yeah, you got to.
If you have a sales agent, it makes it a lot easier to get into festivals because they already know people.
Right.
To give you an example, Darker cost me $1,000, but because everyone did such a great job, I gave bonuses, so it was $1,500. The submission fees for Darker into 200 festivals was about $6,000.
Wow.
And that was a short film.
Wow.
So feature-length films are a little bit more expensive. So, I mean, we're talking post-production can run us anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000.
Well,
right now, what you want to do with Nemesis is what? You want to get it where?
I want to get it out to the market. I want to get it out to film festivals. I want to get it out on TV, if possible, in a movie theater, even if it's smaller theaters, to build a following. I want people to start following us, to go, oh, I remember I started following him from when he first did Heroes, and then Darker, and then this, and keep that following. You know, John Waters has a following.
Right.
Steven Spielberg has a following.
Right.
Quentin Tarantino has a following. Well, Alex Armando Torres wants a following.
definitely.
Definitely.
So.
All right. Netflix, man, you got to be on Netflix. That's where you got to be.
Well, that's what, you know, we're researching that. We're researching that too.
That's where you got to be. All right. So, Alex, tell us, if they want to see more about the movie, about Nemesis, or more about you, where can they find you?
So you can find Nemesis at www.nemesis-thriller.film.
Okay. Specifically
for that, you can go to our Twitter page, which is Nemesis spelled NEMESIS_film.
Okay.
On Instagram, Arawak_films. Arawak, ARAWAK, because Puerto Ricans are what? Not Taino. We're really Arawak Indians. So the name of the tribe is Arawak.
That's second chapter. That's the second.
All right. Get that education going. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Está haciendo todo igual, no tiene ningún color el paso que hace. Separa menos tiempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right, culture talk.
Yeah.
My favorite
but
part of this.
This time you're not gonna just sit down and relax. You're gonna work.
Because we have a guest. We have a guest here. We have Alex here. Alex, we were just talking a little bit about some of your background. You're Puerto Rican and New Yorker, obviously also, right?
Yep.
You have a New York background as well. But so how has your cultural background influenced elements of your work now? I mean, you were talking about your logo and your company. Tell us a little bit about that.
So the name of my company, which I created back in 2004, it was originally called Arawak Entertainment, and I changed it to Arawak Films so people would know that it was film related, because entertainment sounded, it sounded a little weird. So I changed it to Arawak Films a few years ago. One of my best friends is Dominican, and she's been a very strong influence as far as educating me, and not me just taking her word for it, but for me to do my own research.
Right.
So in researching my own culture, I came to learn certain things like, a lot of Puerto Ricans refer to themselves as Taino Indians, and I go, but that's not really our name.
What?
Right? No, but that's what I said. Like, I'm reading this.
He's
and
full
I go,
of spoilers.
Wait,
He's got all the spoilers.
we're not really Taino. That was the name that Christopher Columbus gave the people on Puerto Rico when he landed there.
Right.
So I was like, so what are we really called? What was the name of the people there? And they were called it was a tribe called Arawak. And the Arawaks kind of, and having lived outside of DC for about 20 years, there's the Museum of Native American History. And you will go up there and they have this wall and they have all the tribes, the names of all the tribes. And in one of those tribes is Arawak, because even though we were in the Caribbean Ocean, the Arawaks actually were along the coast of Florida, around the Panhandle, even beginning along the coast, like going down Mexico.
I know you can't.
And also in some of those islands.
I know you can't see it right now, but Carla's she's crossing out all her Taino, I love Tainos stickers that she has.
I'm not Taino
She's got a little tear coming down her eye as you're talking.
But I always tell people it's important to do your own research.
Yeah.
Taino, Arawak, whatever. We're Puerto Rican.
But that is really interesting.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why, because sometimes I get like, oh, are you Mexican? And I am really like India looking.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe that's a relationship in between, like how we look similar to Mexicans in some ways.
Well, and that has to do with that native influence. So my mom had very high cheekbones. She was very bronzed, but she had green eyes,
Wow.
So and her whole family, all her siblings were either green or blue-eyed. I got brown. So thank you, Dad. But she would always say, "Oh, we're Indian, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, right." I didn't know anything. I was like, my parents raised me to be more American, so how was I supposed to know this if they weren't teaching this in school? If they weren't teaching other cultures except the European culture that came here? So it wasn't until I got to college and I met this woman, Jocasta. And she's Dominican. She became one of my best friends, and she was instrumental in me researching things. Like
she's your minister of information.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. I just kept learning and kept getting more and more interested. And the more I learned, the more proud I became of our culture.
Well, you were showing me your logo. I mean, your logo looks great.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually
Carla, did you see it?
I saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very, very, very cool.
Thank you. And so I went onto this website called 99 Designs, and if you're under like a budget, you say, hey, I'm going to give you like $500, and you get all these people from all over the world to compete to design your logo or your website or whatever. So I went on there, and this one guy from Italy won the bid because, I was trying to explain to him, I'm a mama's boy. My mother passed away 17 years ago. Wherever I go, I always want to keep her with me.
Right.
So I said, I need something that when I see it, I will never forget her. And a lot of people were coming up with designs of like Native Americans and Indian. And this was at the time that the whole Redskins thing was going on. And I was like, let's not touch this. I was like, let's not do an Indian head. I don't want to offend people.
You're trying to do a good thing and you're going to end up offending somebody.
Right. So I was like, I want to pay a tribute to my people, to my mother. And it was funny because I was thinking of them. Mm-hmm. And what he came back was basically a film strip in red and a feather with its reflection. And
that's nice.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great.
It's elegant. It's a very elegant logo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I said, explain it to me. Why the feather? He goes, well, the feather for Native American, which also represents your mom, but it also represents you because you're a writer.
Yeah, that's great.
I was like, I wasn't even thinking of me. I was thinking of them.
You're like, sold.
I was like, he had me sold.
Yeah.
And then he did this really cool animation, like 10-second animation, that when I show people, they're like, this looks like a real film company. I was like, that's right. Like, when I would see things like MGM with the lion, or Viacom, all those, they would have like a 10-15-second intro that would always get me excited. I was like, oh my God, this movie's about to start. Like New Line Cinema, DreamWorks, they have, the little boy, that's all great. And I thought, oh my God, I want my own.
Nice.
Like, I want my own. And he created it.
Yeah.
He created the logo, and he created the 10-second intro video.
Very nice.
So I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, it's very nice. Very nice. I like that. Let's talk about your background and how it applies to being a filmmaker. Like, what are your challenges that you've come across? What are the things
being
that you've
seen? Being a Latino, being a Puerto Rican.
I will say this. I think it's kind of like a lot of different swords coming at me. One, I didn't go to school for this. I don't have connections. All I have is ambition and raw talent.
Okay.
So when people meet me, I think their first thing is like, oh, he's not a real filmmaker, but anyone can be a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Look at Sean Baker with Tangerine, an iPhone, bam, done, great. Everyone's talking about it.
I actually like his movies. Tangerine.
Yeah.
The other one was on Florida Project or Miami?
The Florida Project, which was really good.
Yeah.
I just saw that a few weeks ago. It was really good.
Yeah.
And but when we talk about filmmakers, I think people don't realize that what was filmmakers 20 years ago, 30 years ago, it's not the same.
No.
Yeah.
It's not anymore. Mm-hmm. Anybody with an imagination and the will to see it come to fruition is a filmmaker.
Correct.
There was a particular person I met, a filmmaker. We would have conversations, and I could always see them like getting bored when I would start talking about things, unless I would talk to them about their stuff.
Right.
And then one day, something I did caught their eye. And I think, and what I realized in that moment was they underestimated me. Oh, that's what it was. I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
They now see me as what I have always seen myself as a creative person, a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking briefly about, the idea of maybe swapping genders in one of your earlier productions. If you redid it, you'd want to swap the genders. And also
having more Latinos.
More Latinos present and visible. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, how do you feel about the state of films right now, and what do you want to contribute to it?
There are definitely a lot of things that can be done still.
Okay.
So I actually was invited to a film festival by a friend of mine, and it was the Athena Film Festival. I got to see Battle of the Sexes, and it was with Billie Jean King. Aha! I remember. It took me a second. I was like, the tennis player, Billie Jean King. She's an amazing speaker. Effortless, real. And the point is that when I went to this film festival, it's a film festival for women, by women. You know, there were a lot of white women with films, a lot of black women with films, and like, I think one Latina film. And I thought, wow, we still have, you know, we still have such a long way to come. But anyway, but even being there, it opened me up to the fact that there are so many voices, and it's the same story, but being told from a different perspective, which makes it so interesting.
Yeah. Okay. How do you feel about this, you know, the movement of like changing it from Latino, Latina to Latinx?
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. So it's,
I don't know. I kind of like Latino.
Yeah. Like the idea is to make it genderless, right?
Yeah.
So that you
To
take
make
away.
it genderless.
Yeah.
Because of for transgenders or.
For all, yeah.
Oh, it's basically to use the word so it's not masculine, so it can include everybody with just one term.
It's
so
inclusive.
you can use
Well,
Latinx.
all right, now to throw
It's complicated.
To make it even more complicated, when people hear the word Latino, again, I'm not a professor, but when they hear the word Latino, they immediately think of Hispanics.
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
And the problem is that Latinos are not just Spanish descent. They are also Italians. They are also Romanians. They are also Portuguese, and they are Spanish because it's based on, you know, the whole Latino was based on the whole Latin language. And if there's 5 different cultures speaking a Latin language, then we're all technically Latino.
That is
So
true.
how did the rest of the Latinos feel, who probably don't want to be called Latino?
I know.
Yeah. You know, in the LGBT community, I think you have to ask that individual person. In fact, this is what we do in the LGBT community. You ask that person, what is your preferred pronoun?
Okay.
I think it's important that we not create a blanket that wipes away our individuality. If I want to be called a Latino, that's great. If my friends don't want to be known as Hispanic, that's okay.
Right.
You know, you have to learn where the history of these words come from. And you have to ask people, well, what is your preferred pronoun? And for me, it's Latino, Latino American.
I don't know if it's generational also, because I don't know if it's too late for me to start picking up on new phrases and new things, you know.
I think it is generational, and I think it's the new generation that they're using more the term Latinx, but I think it comes also from the whole feminist movement and everything. I think everything is influencing every movement that is growing right now is influencing each other.
Yeah. And I do think that it's good to ask these questions, because if we don't ask them, then we never know, and we then tend to marginalize people.
Right.
And it's good that we do ask these questions.
So I want to know, I know that you participated in the Latino Film Festival, in the Latino Short Film Festival. This was the only Latino film festival you participated, and how did you felt participating in this kind of environment?
This, for me, was personally the best film festival that I was in. Not only was in, but that I actually attended. I was pleasantly surprised and shocked that it was so packed. Like, to me, I was like, oh, thank God. Because I've been to a festival where I've accepted and it was local, and there were like 5 people in the audience, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so, you know. There's not a lot of Latino film festivals, but like in New York, there really weren't a lot.
Yeah.
You know, HBO has a Latino film festival, which I went to last year, which was great. But this particular festival for me was great was the best because it was my first time going. And for me to be surrounded by so many different Latinos, and not just Latinos, but Latinos of different color, which I think often gets ignored. You always, and I'm not trying to get political, but you always see the light-skinned Latinos on, you know, Univision or Telemundo, and I'm like, where are those dark Cubans and them dark Puerto Ricans and them Panamanians? Where are they? You know, and you don't really see them.
Yeah.
And I got up, and I remember as the director, and I got up there, you know, they did the Q&A afterwards. I just listened to everybody, and I was like, this is great. Even though I didn't cry inside, I was like, oh my God, I think this is like way emotional, because there was one director there, Moran, who did Let's Play Dead Girl.
Okay.
One of my friends was in the audience. He's actually part of that Sergeant Sullivan Center I told you about. And he asked the question that when I first heard him ask the question, I was like, oh no, he didn't ask that question. Because it was a question based on did you purposely choose, a young Black Latina to play this role versus the white girl? And he got emotional, which got me emotional. And he was like, yes, because I wanted to show the young Black Latina as the good one. And he put her in a white dress.
Right.
Because he wanted to show that her skin color really had no meaning, and the white dress represented her goodness, and the other ones were wearing dark clothes. So that was, and it also was interesting because he did such a great job, and there were so many other great short films there that I felt honored to be among them. I really felt like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, I think I made it, even though I'm not in Hollywood, but like, this was like an acknowledgement that like, I'm good enough to be showcased with other great films that are by Latinos. And it was a moment of pride.
Yeah. I think it's nice we went last year to this. For people listening, this is Danny Hastings put together the Latino Short Film Festival.
Yeah.
Right? New York Latino Short Film Festival. I'm not sure if that's its full title, but so, we did it last year. I put a short film in, and it was really exciting you felt like you were in your own community amongst your peers, that element of it, you don't get to see.
And the movies were awesome.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting the quality of the movies. It was another...
And so many different backgrounds were being represented because you had Latinos from all around... all backgrounds. It was just everybody. It was crazy.
It really is good.
Okay, and then one last question. What advice can you offer to other Latino filmmakers?
You know what? With technology being the way it is, you don't need a lot of money. You just need a great idea.
Excellent.
And I would say take your iPhone, take your Android, and just start doing things, start networking. There are a lot of resources out there, So, but keep your mind open. Save. Oh wait, that's very important for young Latinos. Save. That is so important because had I saved money when I was younger, I could have fulfilled a lot more of my dreams at an earlier age and been a lot further ahead.
Wow.
I don't have any regrets because that's like spilt milk. But save. Be frugal. It's okay.
I've never heard that advice.
Save your money
That's
because
excellent.
if you're dreaming, one day you're gonna be able to take that money and make that dream come true.
All right, let's end it with that. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You wanted me to teach you, right? This is street reality.
Hablando español.
Yes.
You ready, Carla?
Yes, we're ready.
And now we have a guest. We have Alex here.
Yeah.
Wait, no, not just Alex. Alex, give me your full name.
Alex Armando Torres.
What?
Alex Armando Torres.
Él sabe hablar español.
Sí.
Seguro.
Sí.
Un ching.
Sí, he knows.
Vamos a ver. The first word is filmmaker, and it means cineasta.
What? What? Filmmaker is what?
Cineasta.
I never even...
Cineasta?
Cineasta.
Cineasta.
There you go. Yeah, you got
All right. Oh my God.
I've never had
I'm gonna have to go back to school and learn.
Cineasta.
It is a weird word.
Cineasta.
Okay.
Next one.
Next one, photography, which means fotografía.
Oh, that one I knew. Fotografía.
There you go. All right. Yeah,
that one I know.
Next one is poetry, which means
wait. I know like poem is poema.
Yeah.
So
Dale.
Poesía.
Wait. Poesía?
There you go. Yeah.
Sí.
Okay, poesía.
Okay.
Almost sounds like policy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next one is thriller, which means
Thriller.
suspenso.
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 Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Suspense. Suspense.
Suspense. Yeah.
Suspense. Yeah, 'cause it's a little more. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, got it.
The next one is plot, which means trama.
What?
Drama?
Yeah.
Plot?
Plot,
Plot?
means drama. Sí.
Drama.
Trama.
Trama.
Drama. Oh, trama.
Mm-hmm.
With a
Trama.
T.
Yeah.
Not with a D. Drama.
Yeah, drama. I never. Again, I'm always learning stuff here.
That's good. You never had to use it in Spanish.
All right.
Okay. The next one is writer, which means escritor.
Escritor.
Yeah.
Escritor. I'm sure you knew that one. Come on, Alex.
Maybe.
I know it's on your business card. Come on.
Let's see this one. The next one is director. Do you know that one?
Oh, that one I know. Director.
Very
yeah.
good.
Okay.
You nailed that one out of the park.
Next one is production.
Producción.
Yeah. Now you're talking his language, you see? Now you're talking his language. This is his
Okay.
world now.
Let's see this one. Catalyst?
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 Catalyst. I don't know.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I want to say, like, hold on. Let me take a guess.
Okay.
Catalista?
Almost there. Catalizador.
Catalizador. Because I remember that word from a few months ago when I was talking to my friend. And I was like, how do you say this word? How do you say catalyst? And she told me. So I kind of remembered it.
Catalizador. I never heard this word either.
Catalizador.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And I guess the next one will be, and the last one that I have, and Nemesis.
Nemesis.
Aha! Can I use... May I use Alexa on that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think according to Google Translate, it was justicia. Justicia?
Justicia.
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 There you go.
Yes,
There you go.
But
There you
also, is Nemesis. If you're talking about the name of the goddess, is Nemesis in Spanish.
Nemesis.
Which is pretty much the
It's
same.
pretty much, yeah. It's
So,
fine.
but that's great. Nemesis, Justicia. I would have never guessed that.
Me neither.
I would have been stumped.
I was
too.
stumped. I was like, oh, because I expected it to be the same, because the script is based on
Yeah.
the goddess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So do you
That's
have
pretty
one?
cool.
Do you have one to stump Carla?
I find animals are always the hardest ones.
Go for it. Go for it.
So rhinoceros.
Esa me la sé. You said. Wait.
You should have seen her face. She was like,
But you said, say it again.
Rhinoceros.
Yeah, yo me sé esa.
¿Cuál es?
Rinoceronte.
Because it was in the news.
Yeah, el rinoceronte blanco que murió.
Yeah, it was the
Murió
last
al
one that
último.
just died. All right, she got me on that one.
All right. All right.
Let me think of another.
Well, okay, so this is something interesting that I never thought of. And I don't know if you know. Film, right? Film. How do you say film in Spanish?
Es filme o película.
Película.
Well,
Pero película,
película is a
long one.
movie. Película is movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ajá, película es movie.
Yeah.
But I think film es filme.
Filme. Yeah, you are right. Did you Google that one?
I googled film. It gives me película, but it's
But
not
it has-
saying
it has
film,
more
the actual
translation.
material film.
Ah.
No, yeah.
Oh, filme.
Filme, la
Cinta.
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 Cinta is like tape.
Because it can be used in
Yeah.
different ways, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you guys were saying when you take pictures back in the day, you call that a film.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I guess that's the cinta of the camera, and then the
Yeah.
el filme of a film.
Right.
All right. I think
All right, cool.
we got it. I think that's
Yeah.
it. You're off the hook, Carla. You got off the hook easy this time.
Ah,
She knew that one. I couldn't stump her.
All right. So Alex, we'll close it with this. Thanks for being on.
No, guys, it was a pleasure. It was enjoyable. This was my first podcast. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Oh, look at that. Good luck with all your projects. We're definitely going to
Thank
stay in touch. Very interesting
Absolutely.
background and your story. I mean, it was, I'm glad when you sent me some of your notes of explaining your background. I was pleasantly surprised. It was interesting. So,
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Carla, it was a pleasure.
same.
All right.
All right, Alex. And also, so if anybody wants to know more about you, where can they find that?
So on Instagram, it's Arawak_films, and Arawak is spelled ARAWAK. For my photography, it's Alex_Armando_Torres. And then for Twitter, it is ALX Nazario, which is a tribute to my father's family.
Okay.
For my photography. And then for the film, it's Nemesis_film or Arawak_films.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. So that concludes another episode. Next episode is episode 13, Black Book Artistry. It's going to be a one-on-one session, myself and Nover GWB, graffiti artist from New York. We're going to be discussing all the things we love about Black Book art, and we have a short list of 10 Black Book artists found online that we think you guys should know about. So stay tuned.